All right, YouTube. So, welcome to our episode one on season one. And season one, we're going to talk all about the 1D bodies, what makes them so special. Season two might be a little bit shorter one. We'll talk about the 5D bodies that I have, or the ones that I got, and why did I skip one or two here and there. With that, we're going to get into it and we're going to talk about why I have two things here on the table today. The topic for today's video, series, whatever you want to call this, it's very special because this brings back a lot of memories. And what you're going to see in this series of videos is something that most people on YouTube can't really share with you because they haven't lived the journey. They read some stuff, they chat GPT it, they Google it, and then they make videos out of it trying to give you information about something they've never touched, held, or even ever be able to even afford, to be honest. Back in the day, there was a big problem with photography, and that was going from film over to digital. And when we did that, there was a serious meltdown in the photography world. And the meltdown was where people didn't know what the future held. But some people knew that digital wouldn't last long. That's what they thought. Some people really thought that digital was going to completely wipe out film. And 30 years later, film is still here. So none of those things came true. But this particular series of videos, it's going to take you down a journey that I went down, and there are certain cameras, like only like two, I believe, that I never spent the money on, or if I actually can't say that I did buy them, but I didn't keep them for long, and I'll explain that through the journey as you go through it. That's not in today's video. If you are here for the Canon 1D Classic, you're in the right place. It wasn't called a Classic back then. It was just called a 1DC, right? And 1DC became a cinema camera later, but we called it that until the 1DC cinema version came out. But for the purpose of this video, we're going to call it the 1D, the original one, the one. This is it right here in my hand. No, this is not one that I acquired last week. Bought it probably about 8 to 12 months after it came out. Back then, these cameras were a lot of money. We bitch today about a $3,000 camera. You have no clue. Go back literally exactly 30 years, or like close to 25 years or 30 years. Close to, let's just call it between 2 to 3 decades ago. This very camera was purchased at B&H. Yes, B&H was there. I know you guys have a hard time believing. And I had paid back then. There was a Canon used to run a coupon in the magazine. It was called Photography. That was the name of the magazine. They had a coupon on it, and B&H was, doing that. They got some in stock. When I first saw it, always wanted it, couldn't afford it. So went out there and shot a lot of things on film, made money, saved up money for over a year, and really went to New York City back then, from Washington, D.C. area. One weekend we went down there, and we ended up buying this guy cash There were no credit cards. I mean, we didn't use credit cards back then. It was all like hard-earned cash, green dollars, Benjamins, if you call it that. And I paid with the coupon. It was, I think, almost $7,000 for this body. With the coupon, it was like close to $6,000. Back, I'm talking 25, 30 years ago. So all these people that bitch today about everything they have for the price that they do, they have no freaking clue. None. They are just whiners. Absolute whiners. Because you want this level of performance, but you want to pay the price of literally like a point and shoot. That's pretty much what's happened to photography over the years. So who was this for? For the ones not only that could afford it, but this became the tool, the 1D Classic, or 1D for newspapers. A lot of the newspapers went after this because it was digital rather than trying to print. Before I get too far into who was this for and what this camera is all about, you have to understand where it comes from. A lot of people don't understand the transition of film to digital. Today I'm going to show it to you. You will not see this on other YouTube channels because they don't have that history, and secondly, they don't even have these cameras in this quality in their hands. Right? So this is my EOS 1V. This is a film camera. This was the flagship from Canon. And this became this, which is the 1D on the other hand. Now you are probably sitting there saying, how is that possible? Let me show you. Good question. I'm going to hold it like this so you can see them. You can see they're almost identical. Film here, digital here. Film here, digital here. So when they went in photojournalism, sports, wildlife, all that kind of stuff, it became a natural progression to move. They made it so easy. Look at this. It's exactly the same. The positioning is the same. Everything is the same, pretty much, except for the back. You have a screen here. You don't have a screen. You have a little window where you can see your film. I actually have film in this right now. But pretty much the same. This here, with this power boost that's on the bottom, can shoot 10 frames per second on film. Imagine that. So you have 36 exposures. In 3.6 seconds, your film is done. And the action is captured. You're good to go. You got the winning shot. You're going to be the king of the hill for the Olympic Games, right? Maybe. But this was it. This was the tool. This and the Nikon F6 were the pinnacle of 35mm photography when it came to high-speed shooting. There's nothing better than those two cameras out there, period. No one could touch these two on the sidelines out there. Incredible machines. This one is almost in mint condition. It's been to Canon many times for, checkups. I get everything free from Canon. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you wish. This particular body back in the day was a little over $1,000, and then with the booster, it was a lot more because the booster was very hard to get. But once you got the booster, then you get to go. What I did is I instead of using AA type of batteries here, I took the batteries that come with this, which was I think the E3, and this is the E2, and this is the 3. The only difference is this little locking mechanism here with two little screws. I literally got the one batteries for this. They're nickel metal hydride batteries, and then popped on this cover for the 1V, and now I have, you can say, I can shoot probably like 5 to 10 rolls on one battery, no problem. I don't have to, and it's rechargeable. So, wanted to give you that. This one actually has a extremely high durable shutter. I don't recall the metal that they use, but again, I might be wrong on this, but you're gonna have to look it up. It's been many years. I think it's got a titanium shutter in this. It lasts a long time. This guy here is a CCD camera with 4 megapixels, right? 4 megapixel, and you're probably sitting there thinking, 4 megapixel, what a piece of junk. What am I gonna do with 4 megapixels? Well, sorry to bust your bubble, but majority of the billboards you saw as you were growing up as a kid with sucking your, pacifier, they were shot on these cameras, right? So it's real, right? Onto what they produced. Fashion industry, news, like I mentioned, photojournalism, all kinds of different things it was used for. There are a few things that this camera has that they never did again. This was the only one that had it, and then they went to the CMOS sensors. No more CCD. CCD sensors actually are power hungry. They eat up a lot of power. But the images are just beautiful. The colors are just beautiful. They have that magic. But people don't like for you to call it magic, but it is magic. Let's do a quick walkthrough of the camera on what it can and cannot do. Yeah, the batteries are charged. Very good. All right, perfect. And you'll see it's the same blue that's on the 1V and this. So they kept pretty much every single thing the same. The only difference was you were going from film to digital. So whatever I'm talking about here will definitely apply to the 1V as well. So here's your mode button up here. If you press both of them together, you can do some of your bracketing type of things. And then if you press the top and the bottom one, you can get your drive mode to pop up here. And then if you press the bottom two, you will get the ISO to pop up here where you can change it. And then you have your light button and then your exposure comp button here, right? And then your star button, and then for your autofocus, you had 45 AF points in an elliptical. And believe it or not, this guy on the film side had the same exact thing, right? This guy could shoot in the day, I think 8 or 10 frames per second. And no electronic shutter. It does have a flash sync speed of 1/500th of a second, not 1/60th of a second, not 1/25th of a second. It's 1/500. This was unheard of. That's why the fashion industry just went nuts with this thing. You could do all kinds of things with flash. This thing has this one thing up the sleeve that they never did on any other 1D body after that, which is, if you look, most shutter speeds only go up to 1/8,000th of a second. This guy goes to 10,000, 12,800, and then 1/16,000th of a second on a mechanical shutter. 1/16,000th of a second on a mechanical shutter. So when we brag, oh, I have an electronic shutter that can do 1/32,000th, what did you really achieve? Who gives a shit? This is a mechanical shutter that they did 30 years ago that could do 1/16,000th of a second. And why do you think they did that? Let me tell you why. And I'm going to show you why. This is what I mean. You will not see what I'm sharing right now in this video on other channels because they just haven't been there. They're just reading other people's comments and fake Google summaries, that are most of the time wrong. Here. This is why. Because when these types of cameras came out, we used to believe in the utmost in optical quality of a lens and fast lenses, right? Why? Because the ISO range on this camera, natively, ISO 1600, you're going to go on, I don't know why I said one, but ISO 1600 was it, and then you can put into high mode. ISO 3200. Wow, I'll get this right. I'm still stuck on the shutter speed. Back then, this was revolutionary. Today, we love to talk about dynamic range at base ISO, which is 100, and brag about 14 to 15 stops. Yet most of our shots that we shoot are usually between 1,000 and 10,000 ISO, where your dynamic range is, you already lost so much dynamic range by doing that anyway, so who cares how good your camera is at 100? You're not going to shoot it at 100 unless you're in the studio. Most people don't do that. So those are all meaningless conversations. So this is the 85 1.2. It's the Legend. It's the Mark II version. Works perfectly fine. No problem whatsoever. And after so many years, is it on? Yep, it's on. Let me go and take a shot of something, and then I'll show you. Hopefully you can see it. I don't know. Let's just take a shot of this cup. So this was at 1/16,000th of a second, and you can see how dark it can get. But, you know, this display was so state-of-the-art, we never looked at it. It didn't matter. It was just more for information. It wasn't there to check to see if I got the focus right. You can't even zoom into it. You can't even shoot black and white in this camera, by the way. It doesn't even have a setting. It only will give you color files. And when you shoot RAW, it gives you TIFF files. It doesn't give you CR2 files, CR files for Canon. So I'm going to bring back the shutter speed down some, and we'll shoot it at 1.2. Yep. Oh, I gotta move that. There you go. And you get that. That's the cup. That's this guy. With the entire background and the sunlight just looking beautiful around it. Oops. So I ask you the question. 30 years later, this works the way it does. Your brand new mirrorless camera that you're paying just as much money for. It's not built the same way, but you're getting those things for that kind of money. Obviously, it can do a lot of crazy things and incredible things. Do you think that your mirrorless camera is going to show up on a video 30 years from now? Will it last that long? And why do I ask this question? Because nowadays, your camera is only as good as the firmware update that it's on. In these days, guess how many firmware updates this one had? None. And back then, the only way you could update it, you had to send it just to Canon. It went to CPS. They just did it if there was something needed. There was nothing like every 2 weeks. Oh, these two people are bitching on YouTube, so give them that feature. Oh, that one over there, he feels butthurt because he bought this, and all of a sudden, when he really should have bought something else, we should give this feature. None of that crap happened. We had real professionals that could actually afford this. Why? Because we didn't have amateurs trying to be professionals. With mirrorless, everyone today is a professional. So you don't even know, under that cheap skin, if you got a goat in there somewhere. You wouldn't know. Because everyone is a born professional. They know everything about it. Anything there is. Why? Because they got Google, they got ChatGPT, they got all this stuff. So they feel powerful. Yet, when you look at their pictures, you can clearly tell. Another one. Uncle Bob. Right? That's what you hear. Uncle Bob. So, is this camera perfect? No. Does it have nuances? Absolutely. Here, check it out. You hit the display button, right? It shows you the last photo. Now, if I want to scroll through the photos, I can't. You would think you could just turn this and it would scroll. Aha, no. Because in the field, they didn't want it where you had it there and you accidentally moved the stuff. So what did they do? It's a two-step function. You bring it up like this. You hold down the select button now. And while holding it down, you would start to turn through the different pictures. That's how you did it. Okay? So if I wanted to look at something else, I can hold down the display button and change it. And then I can do more photos at one time. But the one that I always used was this, which is the histogram on the bottom. Guess what? Even back then they had the damn histogram with the brightness on there. It didn't have the color one and all that, but brightness was perfect. And when I look at my histogram, I have obviously the dark parts, especially with this sunset, but I got tons of detail in third and fourth quadrants right here. Should be fine, no problem. The other thing they did was, rather than you going into the menus, there are now menus, guys. I lied, there is a menu. That's how the menu looks. And you can't even turn through the menu once you bring it up. So you have to hit menu. Same deal. If you want to scroll through the different pages of the menu, you got to hit the menu button and then scroll across. But if you want to go inside one of the major folders of the menu, you got to go select and start to move down in here like that. That's how this works. This was intentionally designed this way because it was built for professionals, not for amateurs. Today they make it for whoever because they can't really tell who the real deal is. So what do? Anyone can go into any menu. You can easily get into there. You accidentally bump it. You actually go out there and you shoot things. And then you realize you're shooting at ISO 640 and then automatically the camera bumped it to ISO 5000, and then wow, on the EVF it looked beautiful, but when I go to edit, you lost all that detail, and now you got major shit show to deal with. Didn't happen here. And the best part, when you actually hit, is it on the high speed? Yeah. I'll let you hear it. Here. Let me just focus on something. Okay, got it. Ready? So, I don't know what to tell you. Still good. The best part, it's still writing. Look. It's done. And guess how big those files are? Not very big. That's what I love. You can shoot forever. This door, Canon R1, you don't have this. You have that stupid slider crap. You fell for that mirrorless trap. You don't have this. You can't accidentally open this sucker. Right? So you have this, and then you have that. That's a 4 gigabyte card. You probably haven't seen one of these in your lifetime, some of you. You can't put a 512 gig in here. It doesn't recognize it. The largest you could put in there was like, I think, 8 or 16 gig, and that was it on this camera. Now, the newer ones that we talk about, they can obviously do much higher. So, there you are. And this particular card, the 4 gig back then, you can actually get, I don't even know, I think like 5 to 800 photos on this guy, which was perfect to shoot a wedding or whatever it is that you were doing. To get this card back then, the 4 gig, it was like, I don't even know. I want to say like 250 to like $400, somewhere in there, depending on whether you got it on sale or not. They're expensive. And this is the this is the compact flash card. And this one could only transfer 15 megabytes per second. And that was plenty for this back then. You can put a faster card. I do have them, and you'll see that in the future episodes. So with that, this is coming to an end for this one. I'm trying to do it sideways. Sorry. I should be doing it this way. The excitement in me got to me. So anyway, what we're going to do next is 1D Mark II, the one after this. And what you're going to see is you are no longer going to see a CCD sensor. You're going to see everything moving over into the CMOS world, which you're used to today. They made that move because it was very efficient on the battery, those kind of things. These cameras are not light, but I'm glad they're not, because they've lasted this long. And hats off to Canon, hats off to Nikon from this era on everything that they built. Those cameras are going to outperform and outlast any of that mirrorless garbage that they're making today. And that stuff they're making today is no match when it comes to quality. I mean, I'll take my R5 II and put it up against my 5DSR. My 5DSR will blow it to water. Guaranteed. Just blow it to... And the R5 II is an incredible freaking machine. Incredible. But the build quality is not the same. This is rock freaking solid, man. You know you got something. You know you heard the shutter. When that shutter goes off, you know you got it, man. You got the shot. You don't have to worry about fake sounds in there to try to make it look like a shutter. You know how stupid that is? To me, that's just annoying. I shoot a lot of my mirrorless cameras with even mechanical shutters, and they even put dampeners in those suckers so they don't make noise. Right? We don't want wildlife to hear it. I mean, I get that. But, you know, when we are out there shooting wildlife, like I said in my previous videos, what do we do? Hey, there's one on the top left over there. That's louder than the damn shutter is. I haven't seen any eagle coming back to me saying, oh my God, your shutter's too loud. You got to go mirrorless. Unless they said it to you. But I can guarantee you a YouTuber for sure told you that. And you fell for it. So did I. Not anymore. Like I said, enough is enough. That's the end of episode 1. I hope you really enjoyed it. I have enjoyed shooting with this for many, 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 many years. I still take it out from time to time and shoot some things, and always in awe when I look at these photos and the color renderings that you get from these cameras. And they're not perfect. Yeah, you got some noise in the images. Who cares? You go in and actually start printing things, noise is not an issue. And if you're still talking about noise after you printing photos, you shouldn't be in photography, because you totally missed what digital was all about, my friend. So hopefully you enjoyed the real transition from film over into what started the revolution and a legacy with Canon of being supreme, that no one could touch them once these things started to come out. We'll talk about one of the most highly contested models from the 1D bodies, which was the 1D Mark III. And I'll tell you my story on that, but you'll have to wait for that episode, which is going to be episode 3. Episode 2 is next, which is 1D Mark II. Incredible camera. I have the 1D Mark II. They made an N and other versions, and we'll talk about that in the next episode. So with that, like, subscribe, be nice to each other, go out there, create your magic, share this video with someone, you know, that truly wants to go back to the history and the legacy of what's happened in the last 30 years, especially with the Canon 1D series. and why they still rule the world on every single sideline, every single sports complex arena, everywhere you go. They rule that space. Others are shooting alongside with them, but nowhere near in the sheer numbers, of what Canon does. So with that, I will talk to you in the next one. Thank you so much.